Hi there, this is Art and Such with my Rainbow Loom tutorial for Zuma from Paw Patrol. For this tutorial, you're going to need a couple of navy blue bands, brown bands, orange bands. I would suggest pony beads for the eyes, and I'm using a Sharpie to draw on the pupils, although you're welcome to use bands. And if you have beads or charms that you think might be appropriate for the headpiece or the collar, you can use those. I played around a little bit with bands on the head, and for the collar it didn't come out very nicely for me, but if you can come up with a better method, please let me know how it works out. Alright, we're ready to start. You're going to have your loom in the offset configuration. Just grab a couple of pony beads and we'll begin. And I should also mention you're going to need a C-clipper too. Let us begin with our arms and our legs. I'm going to make them all with you. They're done the same way. We take 3 fur-colored brown bands, wrap them once, twice, 3 times. If that's too tight, you can leave it at 2. And we pull it onto 5 pairs of brown. So slide it onto the first pair, make sure you've got them all. Slide it onto the second pair. Three, 4, and 5. And we're going to make another 3 just like that. I'm going to be putting these on a holding hook in a minute. You can do that now or wait till they're all done. So 3 bands wrapped 2 or 3 times. If you can do it 3, that's better. Pulled onto 5 sets of double bands. That makes 2 of our limbs, and we've got 2 to go. Three, 4, 5, and last one. Two, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to put these onto a different hook for the moment. You can leave them loose or leave them on here, but we will be doing a little bit of looping before we put these on, so I'd like to get them out of the way here. And if you have another hook, you can just use your other hook. That's fine as well. We're going to be going to the loom next, and we're going to make our ears. So we're going to be working from the bottom of the loom, really. And we're going to count up to the 5th peg from the bottom in the middle. Take a single brown, double it over, and place it from the 5th peg from the bottom to the 4th peg from the bottom. And really, you can do this from starting from the top and moving downwards. It's fine that way. This is just the way that I counted it out. We're going to come to the bottom of the loom now, so 3 more doubled over singles coming down that row. And on the side to the side of that, we're going to be coming diagonally down from the 4th peg from the bottom down to the 4th peg from the bottom on the side. And we go to the bottom of the loom on that row as well. And doubled over bands all the way. We place a doubled over band across the bottom 2 pegs on the rows that we've been using. And here, if you want your ears to be a little bit tighter, what you can do is you can take your bands and you can wrap them 3 times, but it's going to be really, really hard to loom really, really tight. Or you can double over the triangles that we're making here. So I'm doing one from the 1st and 2nd from the bottom on the middle and onto the 2nd from the bottom on the side. But you can always stretch this out a little further and make it a broader one to make the pieces bigger. I'm going to do another triangle on the 3rd and the 4th from the bottom on the side and on the 3rd peg in the middle. And here, if you want it to be a little extra tight, you can also make a 3rd triangle here, but you don't have to. We're going to cap off the bottom left with a single, wrap it about 3 times. And you're welcome to make it tighter. And we're going to loop up. So we get under our cap band, find the 2 bands that are coming from the right side and bring those back over. Go back underneath and get the bottom 2, bring them up and over. And we're going to loop straight up 2 more times, pushing back the holding bands as we get to them. Take that band on the 4th peg from the bottom and bring it up and over to the right. And then we're going to loop straight on that middle row, the right row. So come inside, get the bottom 2, bring them up, bottom 2, and push back the holding bands, come up 2 more times. And you can take this off of the loom and put it onto the same holding hook that you have your arms on. And we'll make our other one together as well in just 1 second. We'll move a little bit faster for the second one. Okay, starting from the 5th from the bottom, come down straight, doubled over singles. Come down diagonally once from the 4th peg from the bottom of the loom on the middle, down to the left, and continue coming down that row to the bottom. A doubled over across the bottom pegs, and holding bands, doubled over single, forming a triangle, and another above that, pointed the other way. Cap band over the bottom left, and then we're going to loop. And the tighter you make it, the pointier it's going to be. Yeah. Okay, let's go underneath, pull up into the side, loop straight up the bands on the left row, pushing back your holding bands and get that band to bring in diagonally, and then we're going to go back through and come straight up again. And remove this from the loom. Let's put that on our holding hook or put it on the side. You can pop it on a C-clip as well if that's easier for you, or if you don't have an extra place to put it. Now I'm going to be using a technique I've seen Kate Schultz do a lot on his Delicious Designs. Because our Zuma has an orange helmet at the back and a little bit on the sides, this will help us get that kind of rounded effect. We're going to do a back layer of orange. So take 2 bands, come from your top center to your top right, and 2 from your top center to your top left. And we're going to come down in each of our rows twice with double orange. And then in the middle we want a total of 3 bands, so we're going to add one extra set there. Take 2 orange bands and bring them from the 3rd right to the 4th center, and 2 from the 3rd left to the 4th center. And we want 2 brown bands coming from the 4th center to the 5th center. So just continue down once. And we are going to cap that with a blue band for the collar. And I'm going to wrap it once and twice. We need holding bands from going over all of the 3rd pegs down in a triangle formation and over all of the 2nd pegs. And we can loop this part up part of the way. So get under your blue, bring your brown bands up and forward, loop your orange to the right, and those should be your top 2 bands. Oh, sorry, to the left, I mean. Again, it's kind of backwards here. Your next 2 are going to the right. And loop up twice in the middle, but stop there. And loop up once more on either side. Push all of these bands down just a little bit. Alright, let's start adding some parts here. We've got lots to do. We have our ears to go on the top side pegs. So transfer all the bands that are on your hook for each of your ears. We're going to make we're going to put on some brown here next. From your 2nd peg down to your 3rd peg down on either side, you want to place 2 brown bands over the bands that are already there. And from your 2nd peg down to your 3rd peg down, in the middle, 2 browns, and 2 browns again. From the 3rd to the 4th. And we're going to come down one more time with double brown bands. Okay, let's put our eyes on. As I said, I'm just using little pony beads. You're welcome to use white beads, black beads, white bands, black bands, colored bands, whatever you feel like. Or you can do a combination of them. Whatever eyes you use, you're going to get them onto a brown band. Bring them across your 2nd pegs down on either side. And raise the middle part over the 2nd peg down in the center. For our nose, we're taking a black, and I'm sorry I forgot to mention that we'll be needing 1 block here, but you can always use a navy or something else if you need to. We are going to wrap it kind of tight, about 4 times, 3-4 times, onto our hook and pull it onto 5 brown bands held together. So I'm putting my fingers right through them so it's nice and tense. I'm going to slide it right on top and put the other end back. And this is just going to go onto a single brown band and be stretched across. Oh, make sure we get these all over. Oh, hang on, we have one more thing to add here. 2 brown bands from the 3rd on the side to the 4th in the center. We have to close that off still. And then we can put, oh dear, No, that's okay. Yeah. Then we can put our nose across from the third peg to the third peg. I'm actually just gonna pop these off for a second and put this bottom piece on after. I think that's gonna make the looping a little bit smoother here. Okay, third peg to third peg, and you can pop it up over the third peg in the center for now. And we are ready to start onto our body. For that, we're going to need some orange bands, and we're starting with 2 bands coming from your 5th peg down in the middle over to the side. And just before we do that, take these blue bands for your collar and bring them up and over your brown. Okay, now we're going to place our orange on. Come down to the left. And we're going to come down on the middle row 4 times and then stop for a minute there. Three times down on either side, double bands again. So 2 bands each time. And then we're going to put on a couple of blue pieces to make our little belt here. Okay, take a blue, wrap it once and twice on each of those bands or pegs. And on the far side. And we're going to come down once more on each of those rows with orange and then close it off to the middle. And just place your orange on top of the blue there is fine. Come inwards diagonally, 2 bands at a time. And we want to do a little cap band on that bottom middle. It's the 4th from the bottom of the peg of the loom now. Trying to get this about 4 wraps here. Our limbs are ready to go on. They're going to go on to your 5th peg down on either side where our orange has started, and onto the last side pegs that are holding orange at the bottom, which are your 5th pegs from the bottom. Let's put some holding bands. Just using single oranges, we're going to count to the 6th peg down and come across in a triangle formation. So move to the side and then include the one in the middle. And do that right underneath. We're going to leave the other one here just for a minute, but we can put one over the bands with the legs and the middle one just above that. Okay, so we can start to loom up the body. We're just gonna go under our holding band, get the top 2, bring them to the left over the leg, next 2 up over to the right, and the last 2 are looping up once, and we'll loop up once on each side. You only want to grab the bottom 2 orange. So turn your loom to the side if it helps, or hold the bands out with your fingers, whatever you need to do. Now we don't really want this blue to show up at the back too much. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the bottom orange bands from the peg below. We're going to pull these over the blue and lift the blue up a little bit and grab it and slide it just over the top 2 orange bands. And that way it will show up more at the front. And we need to do that for the middle one. Just slide it over the top 2 orange. If you really can't, then slide it over all the orange pieces, but try and get it so that it's just over the top too. I'm trying to scoop it from the inside here. There. We need to put a holding band over here so this piece doesn't flop loose. Lift up the 2 bands on the top on your left. Place your band on. Lift up the top 2 on the right and grab that band on and replace. And now we're going to loop up the rest of the side. Push back your holding bands and go straight. And loop inwards. 2 orange bands coming from the bottom there. Go to your right side and loop up. Go straight to where your arm is, and we're going to loop inwards again. And we're going to loop straight up the orange and stop when you get to the neck piece, or to the end of the orange here. Now, when we gather our brown up, what we want to do is bring it under this blue piece. So I'm going to get my hook through the blue, and then I'm going to reach in and I'm going to grab my browns. If it helps, you can hold them in place there as you do this. And I think that's what I'm going to do here. We want to loop our browns under the blue so that the color shows up on the front. And we're going to loop up the next 2 browns, which are going to the left, the next 2 to the right, and loop straight up once, finding the brown bands. That's what you want here. And we're going to bring the nose back over that piece. So just flip it back over that peg. Bring your next 2 browns up. And on the left side or either side, you're going for the 2 browns that are under the other browns. It's coming from the peg above. And we're going to loop up the next 2 browns once we get these ones. Oh, next 2 oranges. We don't have any more browns there, do we? Just the 2 oranges that are coming from the peg above. They're the bottom oranges. And loop in your last oranges from the left side. We'll repeat this all on the right. And get the 2 browns that are below all the other browns. Get your oranges from the bottom under your ear and loop inwards with your oranges and come up one more time in the middle with 2 oranges. Grab an orange band and we're going to slide it through all of the bands on the top center peg. Keep your hook pointed away and slide. Put the other end on and we can pull one over the other to create our slip knot and remove this from your loom. I'm going to show you, we'll make our little backpack and then I'll show you a couple of, and our tail, and I'll show you some adjustments and added things that you can do here. So you're going to hide your securing band, and if you want the neck to sit a little further back, you can weave your securing band under some nearby bands and pull it in under some of the bands on your back. And that will cause the head to stand a little more straight. Wherever you let it rest, you can put a C-clip on it. And you can weave it in or tighten it up or leave it as loose as you'd like. For the tail, we'll do that next. We are taking a single band, wrapping it 1, 2, 3, 4, and pulling it onto a doubled over band. This is the color of the fur again, so brown. And you can put this onto 2 brown bands. Put the other end on. And I'm actually going to take this off the hook for the moment, hold it on my hand. I'm going to come in sort of vertically downwards through a couple of pegs on the back of the body, wherever you'd like your tail to sit. And you can put this on your hook and slide it carefully under those oranges. And then we're going to, you can C-clip it or we can pop it over. So I'm going to take a couple of these, pull them over the others, and place the remaining one on top of my little tail. And you can loop that a couple of times to make it a bit tighter and get it to sit a little more snugly. Alright, our orange backpack piece, we're doing it on the loom. We're using double bands, but not doubled over bands. And we're going to come down from the top right to the top center, top left to the top center, and twice down on each of the rows. If you want this to be a little tighter, you can use doubled over bands, but this works just fine. Take 2 bands and bring it from the second center to the second right, 2 from the second center to the second left, and cap off that center second peg. You can wrap it 2 or 3 times, or tighter if you'd like. 1 holding band, single, stretch across your second pegs. And we're going to come under that middle cap band, get a hold of your 2 from the left, and bring them up and over to the left side. And you might want to turn your loom for this part. The next 2 are going from under that cap band to the right side. And then we loop straight up on each of our rows. And into the middle from the side. So once up diagonally from your top pegs on either side. Secure it with an orange band, just as we did with the other piece. Pull one end over the other and take this off. You got kind of a blob here. You're going to decide where you want it to sit. You can pick a direction even. Take your bands and you're going to slide them under some of the bands in your back, the one that you've secured this with. You can weave it under and around as much as you need to until it's nice and tight. And this can go onto a C-clip, or this onto the C-clip that you've used if you'd prefer. In the bottom piece, you're going to take your hook, go through the side of your new piece, and bring an orange band through both of those. Pull one end over the other to secure. You can do the same on the other side, or you can kind of cheat and use the same band. 2 from the side, 2 from the side. Bring this through and pull tight, and this can actually go on a C-clip, or you can slide it over your tail piece a couple of times. Right, so for the eyes, I'm just using a Sharpie. I've got a brown one and a black one, and on here I did a little bit of brown with a black dot in the middle. This time I'm just going to use a little bit of black. Figure out where you want it to go and draw it on. For your charm, if you have a bead or a charm, you can put it onto a band or onto a piece of thread or dental floss. thread your bead on. You can put it onto a band if you want. To do that, you run your dental floss through the bead, through the band, and back through the bead, and then you would pull it. I'm going to show you here. As I said, you might have some luck experimenting with bands. Okay, and you would just slide it onto the band at this point. The other thing you can do is leave it on your dental floss or a wire. Tie a knot, and this is how I did my first one. Tie a double knot if you want, and just literally tie it around the neck. Bring it to the back, tie a knot or a double knot, or a triple if you like. You can use a little bit of nail polish if you're using a thread or a dental floss and you want to secure it with extra strength. Just trim your excess. What I used for the head, I used a very small pearl bead. Put that onto a band the same way I showed you with this charm. And I just drew on a little paw on the top and pulled that to the back. So you would put your hook in where you want your beaded band to sit. Pull one side of the band that's holding the bead in. Go through the opposite side from the back to the front of the head. Catch the band a second time and pull it through. And your bead will sit right there in the middle, and that is completely optional. If you want to control where the ears or the arms are sitting, you can put your band or your hook through, and it's better to do this at the back if you can, through a band at the side of the head or the body, through a band or two of the ear, and then you'll take another band, pull it through all of those, make a slip knot by pulling one end over the other, and pull it tight, weave it in at the back, and that will get your ear to sit flat. For the arms and the legs, you can, well, for the arms at least, you can do the same thing if you want it to sit more at the side or you'd like the paws to sit together. You can put your hook through any bands that you'd like to join. Put a matching band through. Create a slip knot and weave it in, put it on a C-clip. And that way you can get your little Zuma to sit, to pose, to lean a different way. At any rate, I think that's everything. I thank you for watching. Check out some of my other tutorials and keep an eye. I'm going to try and get some more Paw Patrols out in the next little while. Thanks for watching.